and that's the best way to use phrasal verbs and learn phrasal verbs in context. Do you have trouble learning phrasal verbs? Would you like to learn phrasal verbs in context? Well, then this video is for you. This is Susan Broder from Speak Languages and Travel the World, here to help you improve your English with minimum effort and maximum benefit. Now, the most difficult thing to learn is phrasal verbs. I have a book with more than 400 phrasal verbs, and most people try to learn them in lists. Now, this is absolutely impossible. You definitely need a context to learn phrasal verbs in. And of course, the best would be to have a lot of input through books, videos, films, but not everyone has time for that. And in any case, it's always a kind of passive input, because if you need to speak, you need to have active output. So what's the best way to do that? The best way to do that is to listen and repeat a lot of phrasal verbs in context. But how can you do that? I think the best way to learn phrasal verbs is not just in context randomly, but possibly in context by topic. So I'd like to welcome you to this new series of mine, which I'm going to add to regularly, in which we talk about phrasal verbs in context by topic. And I'll be explaining with lots of example sentences how you can use these phrasal verbs. Today's topic is health. And with these example sentences, you can then also download from the description below, there's a link, you can download my audio of phrasal verbs by topic to listen and repeat. This is something that then you can do in the car or whilst you're cooking or driving or doing chores. You can download them, listen to them, repeat them, and that way you'll be able to practice, and the more you listen, repeat and practice, the more they'll become second nature to you, and that's the best way to use phrasal verbs and learn phrasal verbs in context. So let's start. Have a look here at this document. Phrasal verbs in context by topic. Health. The first phrasal verb I'd like to practice in context is sign up for. This means to join a team or a club. And the other one is to put on, which means to gain weight. Last week, I signed up for yoga classes because I've been putting on weight. This means I enrolled in yoga lessons because I've got too many kilos on, so I've put on weight. I'm going to sign up for Pilates because I've put on 5 kilos. Now, you see, this is exactly what I'd like you to do on your own when you choose a word, a phrasal verb to memorize. You should practice it not only in one tense, but in various tenses. So last week is in the past, I'm going to is in the future, I've put on is present perfect. So make sure that you use any type of a verb, expression, etc. Practice it in various contexts, in various tenses as well. Which kind of exercise classes did you say you signed up for after putting on too much weight? Do remember that after is a preposition, and after prepositions, the next verb directly following it will be in the ing form. I've never signed up for exercise classes at a gym despite putting on weight. I always put on a few kilos during the summer, but I never usually sign up for lessons at a gym because I prefer doing exercise in the fresh air. So here we've got various tenses and various forms with the ing, without the ing, and this is the best way to practice any expression that you want to learn. I usually choose 5. You see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I usually choose 5 sentences in which I can practice this, because by the time you've done it in 5 sentences, you should be pretty good. Let's look at the next series of words that we want to learn. Bring on means to cause an illness. Pull through means to recover from something, and usually it means that you were risking your life. And pass away is an elegant form to say die. So the illness was brought on by a virus. We thought he'd pull through, but he passed away last night. Now, obviously, I didn't say that with the same tone that you should usually use when you're talking about people who passed away, but I'm trying to explain it to you in a context. Of course, you would have to say it a little bit nice. We thought he'd pull through, but he passed away last night. So I'm just doing it not as if I were actually explaining it to someone really. Did the extreme conditions bring on any serious illnesses? Yes, his friend passed away, but he's going to pull through. So that's a more optimistic way of expressing it. This heat wave might bring on medical problems for the elderly who could pass away as a result, although others may pull through. A heat wave is when the weather becomes extremely hot all of a sudden. And might. Might is a modal verb of possibility. So this heat wave might bring on medical problems. It may, maybe yes, maybe no. For the elderly are old people. It's an elegant way of saying old people who could pass away, another modal verb, as a result, although others may pull through. And many people don't know the difference between may and might. In reality, they're almost identical, but may is slightly more probable than might. That's really just a feeling, but it's not a problem if you, you can interchange them, just that might gives a sense of less probability compared to may. What brought on the illness? And why did they pass away so quickly? We don't know, but those involved just didn't pull through, which means those involved didn't make it. After the operation, the doctor said, "I'm sorry, but he didn't pull through. He passed away a few minutes ago, and we don't know what brought it on." So, as you see, we have another 5, and you can see that we've used it in various tenses, also with modal verbs. And the fact of using it in various tenses and using it in at least 5 sentences in a context will help you memorize it better. If you can then actually find some sentences which are very pertinent to your personal situation, they'll become even more memorable, and that's something I recommend you do. Let's look at the next ones. Come down with means to become ill. Get over means to get better, to recover from this illness. Look after means to take care of. And swell up means to become inflamed or swollen. I think I'm coming down with a cold, so I'd better look after myself if I want to get over it quickly, which means I think I'm getting a cold, and so if I take care of myself, I'll recover quickly. Last week, I came down with the flu. My eyes are swelled up, and I've only just got over it. You can see that we're using all different tenses again. Have you ever come down with a serious illness? How long did it take you to get over it? That's another thing. It's very good if you don't only change the tenses, but sometimes make it negative, interrogative, affirmative. Who looked after you when you came down with pneumonia? So with pneumonia, you don't pronounce the P, but you just start with the N and you say pneumonia. And what is pneumonia? Pneumonia is a disease of the lungs. Usually it comes when you get very, very cold and your lungs start filling with water, and it's actually very dangerous. You can die. That's the pronunciation of pneumonia. Have you ever come down with something which made your throat swell up? For example, if you have some kind of allergy, your throat can actually swell up. It's very dangerous, then you can't breathe. Let's look at some more. To join in means take part in. Warm up means to prepare for something, usually physical exercise, but we do have warm-up exercises also for teaching languages. Work out is to do exercise, and get rid of is to eliminate. Are you going to join in the marathon, or has your foot swollen up? Means, are you going to do the marathon, or do you have a big swollen foot and you can't? I'm tired of working out alone at the gym, so I think I'll join in some group sports. It's also more fun to warm up with them. Now, again, you'll notice that tired of has a preposition. As a consequence, it's followed by a verb in the ing form. Why don't you join in the sports event while I look after your children? I'm getting rid of those shoes because they make my feet swell up. So I'm eliminating those shoes because my feet get swollen. If I don't warm up before running, my knees swell up. I'm going to get rid of my old sports clothes and buy new ones to work out. Do you like warming up before you work out? I also forgot to mention that you have to be careful because in this case, to is not a preposition, but it's the infinitive of the verb to work out. So you must be careful when it's a preposition and when it isn't. Why don't you warm up before joining in with us? Let's see some more sentences. Cut down on. Cut down on means reduce the amount of. Feel up to means feel that you can do something. Pass out or black out means to faint or to become unconscious, which is another way of saying faint. I have to get rid of all the temptations in my house so I can cut down on my calorie intake. This means I have to eliminate everything maybe sweet or everything fatty and delicious that I have at home so that I can reduce how many calories I eat. When I don't have enough time to exercise, I cut down on the minutes in which I warm up. This is referred, yes, to gym exercises. If I don't have enough time, I'll warm up less, with all the dangers involved, of course, and that way I gain time for my exercises. I'm cutting down on food and working out a lot in the gym, so sometimes I feel like I'll pass out. So I'm reducing the food I eat and I'm doing more exercise, and as a result I could faint. Do you feel up to joining in the fitness challenge? Feel up to means do you think you have the strength, the energy to join the fitness challenge? And in this case, to is a preposition, and that's why the ing form is used in the following verb. I don't feel up to looking after my elderly mum today because I nearly passed out this morning since I'm cutting down on calories and working out too much. This means I don't feel I'm strong enough to take care of my mum because I nearly fainted since I'm reducing the calories and doing too much exercise. Have you ever passed out due to low blood pressure? Did you feel up to getting up as soon as you regained consciousness? Here again we have the preposition to followed by the ing form. If you stand up too quickly, you'll pass out. When you get over an illness, how long is it before you feel up to doing physical exercise again? When I looked after my mum, I also got rid of a lot of clutter in her house, which helped me cut down on cleaning time. What does clutter mean? Clutter are all the things which are not really useful and fill your house, making it almost look too full and untidy. So when I looked after my mum, I also eliminated a lot of things that were not of any importance in her house, and this helped me reduce the time I needed to clean the place. When my mother passed away, it took me a long time to get over it, and I just couldn't get rid of her clothes. I just didn't feel up to it because I had always hoped she'd pull through. This means when she died, I was very upset, so I couldn't eliminate her clothes because I just didn't have the strength to do it, because I'd always thought she'd get better and wouldn't pass away, wouldn't die. And here we have all the phrasal verbs in context in one list. You can download all of these phrasal verbs in these sentences with accompanying exercise for you to fill in. And I have the listen and repeat exercises for you to download in audio version so that you can practice even when you're driving or doing housework, chores, etc. That way you can practice listening and repeating, and also your output is practiced, not only your input, and that way you'll consolidate it and they'll just become natural to you. That was the first series of phrasal verbs on the topic of health. I hope you download the audio where you can practice these phrasal verbs with listen and repeat exercises. Please, in the description below, put some example sentences of your own with some of these phrasal verbs regarding health. And if you haven't already done so, I'd like you to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload new videos. I hope this was very helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. That's all for today. Bye!